In South Central Washington is a hub of UFO activity.
Some ufologists have spent 30 years studying the strange lights near Trout Lake and the Yakima Indian Reservation. Our KPTV's David Wilson went to Mount Adams and met some folks who claim to have seen everything from extraterrestrial ships to ETs themselves. Dave?
It's a fantastic story, but the eyewitness accounts of strange luminous objects near Mount Adams are well documented. Skeptics call it nothing more than satellites or geothermal gases, but other scientists call the lights unnatural and out of the ordinary. Some folks near Trout Lake believe the sightings are visitors from other galaxies or other dimensions.
And it came and it made us turn and it started banking, and right over here it just phased out and was gone. Made no sound whatsoever.
When James Gilliland built his country home 15 years ago, he had no idea it sat in the middle of a flight path.
A ship came right in over this field, and right in the middle of the field powered up and just lit the whole field up.
But whoever or whatever flies overhead near the base of Mount Adams is open for debate.
Okay, here he is. See how dim he is? Yeah. Look, he powers up, boom, takes off.
He just put on the afterburners.
So that's not a satellite, you know, that's not a meteor.
James and the hundreds of others who frequent his 70-acre property 12 miles from the mountain believe wholeheartedly the luminous lights shown here
See, it's going through the clouds, underneath the clouds.
Are extraterrestrial.
The universe is filled with life, you know, it's intelligent, it's interdimensional, it's everywhere.
8 years ago, James first noticed the odd phenomenon, and since then, he's taped 15 hours of video. In his nonchalant manner, he recounts incredible stories.
So what's the closest you've ever seen one?
Face to face.
What's the closest you've ever seen a ship, I mean?
A ship? I've been on them twice.
Tales of UFOs are difficult enough to swallow for some skeptics.
These are very, very spiritually and technologically advanced beings. They're highly evolved beings, so we have to rise to the occasion.
But when James, who, by the way, comes off as lucid, calmly tells his stories of communicating telepathically with the ETs, his claims begin to seem more outrageous.
They told me that I really needed to prepare myself on the inner levels and develop my spiritual, or let's say telepathic abilities and things of that nature, because that's how they wanted to maintain the contacts.
I'm very skeptical of that.
OMSI Planetarian Director Jim Todd says the images on James Gilliland's video look like ordinary satellites to him.
I can understand their excitement because they're seeing something bright moving against the background of the stars. And I've seen a lot of satellites myself, and the space station and the Mir and the shuttle. And they're fun to watch, they really are.
But Todd admits it's difficult to tell from the video if the objects travel like satellites and how high they might be in the atmosphere. People on the nearby Yakima Indian Reservation have been reporting unusual lights in the sky for the last century. And more than 30 years ago, scientists from around the country began documenting the phenomenon. This report, called The Investigation of Nocturnal Light Phenomena at Toppenish, Washington, dates back to 1972 and has several detailed UFO encounters. This is just one observation made by an investigator. The two objects were apparently round with a reddish-orange glow. Movement of the objects was erratic and discontinuous. They appeared to move independently, circling and changing places in relation to one another. Another example, this sighting made in August of 1972. The light moved so fast it gave the impression of a streak. It would appear stationary for a moment and then almost instantaneously appear some distance away. Is intelligent life behind these lights? Scientists say at times their erratic actions at the very least appear purposeful. Lights have been known to follow police cars. James Gilliland believes the ETs travel interdimensionally, and to him, they aren't aliens.
I would rather see them as the greater family of man. They're our ancient ancestors.
And he says the ETs want to pass on this message.
We need to clean up our consciousness and clean up our environment and rise up and live a spiritual, natural way of life.
Scientists documenting the UFO activity say Mount Adams is one of 5 or 6 places in the nation where people tend to see a lot of strange objects in the sky. Investigators say Norway is another place where people see similar things. Some scientists are trying to prove the geology of Mount Adams is producing gases that light up the ground and the sky, but serious investigation into these lights is continuing, like for the last 30 years, and will go on until we can figure out exactly what is happening up there. So.
And James obviously knows there are a lot of skeptics out there, a lot of people wondering if ETs really exist, why haven't more people seen them?
He says simply that the world is not ready for the shock of this, that people won't be able to handle it, and that we're slowly being indoctrinated to the idea, or introduced to the idea that these things actually exist. And over time, sooner or later, they will come out for everyone to see.
Yeah, we're waiting. Open arms.
I want to see one.
Come visit.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Dave. So what do you think? Do you believe extraterrestrials have visited the Earth? That's our 12 Talkback Online poll question. Log on to our website, Oregon's12.tv. We'll have results tomorrow night at 10.